Hey friends, my name's Aaron Ciotti. Everybody calls me Ciotti. Welcome to Friday Fart and Fart, Farty Fart, Fart and Farts. Fart on Fridays. Fart, 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 farts. Welcome to Friday Fart and Friday Fart, Fart and Friday. Everything's fucking broken Friday. Lots of stuff is broken. Yo, that intro song, that shit's got some thump to it. Why didn't anyone tell me? Maggie got me this very cool set of Logitech speakers, computer speakers for Christmas. And those are the mains, and then I moved some shit around down here a little bit, and the subwoofer is down there. It's a little like, looks like my guess is like 5 1/4, little like down firing 5 1/4, maybe 6-inch driver, ported on the front, and the speaker setup is a little bass heavy, so I've got it EQ'd down a little bit in Spotify, but that's just in Spotify. And so I turned the intro song on. I was like, oh, jeez. Rumbling, stumbling, fumbling down to the 5. So yeah, there's that. They sound pretty good. I can definitely notice. So the previous speakers that I had were these Pebble. It's actually like, they're a shockingly decent set of computer speakers for like no money. Hold on. So these are like the ultimate super budget computer speakers. These are creative Pebble, Pebl, and they're staggeringly good. They've got these are not actually speakers. These are just these. They do this a lot on these small speakers nowadays. They're instead of porting the speaker, they put this thing in, and it's got a little surround on it, but it doesn't have a voice coil or a driver or anything. As the actual speaker drives air, it pushes this, and then this pushes air on the outside. It's a way to make smaller speakers sound a little bit bigger than they actually are. These are unbelievably good. The drivers on these, though, there's no subwoofer with these. You can buy a set of these with a sub, but the driver on these is a lot smaller than this new setup. You can kind of see the difference there, right? And boy, oh boy, does that make a difference! Holy cow! These smaller drivers, since they're lighter weight, they do a lot better with high frequencies. These bigger drivers on the mains, I can definitely hear a little bit less high frequency response, which I don't love, but like it's fine. I admittedly I am gonna look for I'm gonna keep looking for computer speakers. I'd love to find a set of computer speakers that have an actual dome tweeter. That would be great. That's always gonna give you the best high frequency response. But these are nice. These play a lot louder because they're pushing a lot more air. You know, these two drivers are bigger, and then obviously there's a subwoofer. But yeah, the search shall continue. Or maybe I'll just drill 2 big holes in these and put. Nah, that won't work because I would have to. I'd have to put a crossover in them. That's far too much work. Curtis Hayes was first in the chat. Cheatonian, Johnny V, Brian Tegger. Also, I moved this camera a little bit, so if things look a little bit different, that's why. I moved this camera back a little bit to try to keep me in frame a little bit better when I lean forward, because I lean forward a lot. But I just need to learn to sit the fuck back and relax more. Johnny V, Brian Tegger, Cheatonian, Nathan Jordan, Dave Gunna, Doubles FPV, Moss 1, Northern Tier, Everyday with Bruno, Douglas 6, Cole Powers, Uriel, Chuck P, Soap Legend, Chaser FPV, Hockey Rounds, Hillside FPV, CXB, Pizul, Uriel, Brand Anderson, Curtis Hayes, Bruno, Cole Powers, Brian Tegger, Islander FPV, Dave Gunna, Morton Upshot. I'm doing a terrible job not repeating people. Hendrix Freakazoid, Uriel again, Hillside. As soon as I get done saying that, I repeat somebody. What's up, everybody? Thanks for coming. Welcome to hell. Hey, today was supposed to be, I shit you not, 25 minutes before I was going to start the 12-hour live stream today. I get a message on Instagram from somebody, yo, are you free tomorrow to fly a gig? I'm like, oh my God. He connects me with somebody else, and yeah, 9 a.m. tomorrow morning, I will be 2 hours away flying a building that they are demolishing, actually. They're imploding a building, and they want some, they're filming a show about imploding buildings, and they want some, like, fly-through footage and whatnot, and then on January 1st, they're actually going to implode the thing, and they're hoping to get me back out to fly the implosion, which will just be absolutely outrageous. We'll see if they can clear that with the demolitions team, you know, right? Like, they use wireless, I assume they use wireless stuff to set off the charges. Maybe not. Maybe for redundancy, they do it with actual wires. But whatever. I remember that was a thing when Rotor Riot flew the demolition site. They were a little bit worried that, yeah, having 2.4 gigahertz and 5.8 gigahertz banging around would set stuff off prematurely. But we'll see. We'll see what happens. Happy to get a gig. Sorry to have to bail on the 12-hour stream today. But I was trying to figure out if I was going to reschedule it for tomorrow from 2 to 2, 2 p.m. to 2 a.m., or Sunday from 2 p.m. to 2 a.m. I think it's going to be Sunday. Nobody's used to me streaming on Saturdays, and I have to drive 2 hours to get there by 9 a.m. It looks like I'm going to be flying until 11 or 12, and then I got to drive 2 hours back here. I would like get in from that and then have to immediately stream for 12 hours straight. I probably won't get much sleep tonight, so that would not be the greatest live stream. So Sunday, 2 o'clock p.m. is an hour earlier than I normally stream. So anybody that hasn't found out about the 12-hour stream would just show up an hour late and, like, you know, get to enjoy 11 hours of nonsense. So I'm 99% sure it's going to be a Sunday 2 p.m. to 2 a.m. stream. Sorry to keep pushing it back, but the flying gigs are what I want to do forever. You know, I also want to live stream forever, but the flying gigs are extreme. I make really good money for doing them, and I think it's the thing that I'm best at. As much as I enjoy these live streams, I enjoy flying Cinewhoops around interesting places even more. So yeah, the flying gigs come first. The goal forever has been to be able to book enough flying gigs that I don't have to bug you guys to jump onto my Patreon or any of that stuff. FPV, as it turns out, is such a specific kind of thing that, yeah, there are not tons of flying gigs just waiting to be snatched up. Also with the Avata 2 and some of the other stuff that's out there, a lot of like super ultra rookies are taking a lot of the FPV gigs and charging like no money. And that's just not something I'm willing to do. I'm not going to be a part of the race to the bottom. So yeah, kind of is what it is. But I appreciate you guys hanging in and understanding. Cheatonian, if you want to talk to me directly in the chat, all you got to do is type CiottiFPV like Cheatonian did. He said, "So chuffed. I've always had nausea using PSVR2 in GT7, but for some reason using the PC adapter magically fixes something, and I'm happily iRacing in VR today. Game changer. Very cool. Very, very cool. It's probably latency related. I typed in the chat. One of the things that makes one of the major hurdles with VR is getting the latency low enough that people don't get sick. So yeah, it would not surprise me. PS5 is not a super powerhouse. It's pretty fast, but it's not like, you know, any of the PCs nowadays. And GT7 is a pretty detailed game, so it would make sense that there's a little bit of extra latency in there. Cloudhopper with a $10 super chat. Thank you, brother. He says, "Glad you got a cool demo gig." Yeah, man. Should be interesting. I hope that I get to fly the actual demolition. That would be absolutely insane. What's super funny is when I was talking to the guy, I was like, I said, you know, when we practice, we fly in what we call bandos, which are abandoned spots. And so I was like, I've flown in a lot of like abandoned kind of locations, so tomorrow will feel very natural to me. He's like, it's super funny. I was like, yeah, so this is a legal bando flight, which is weird. But yeah, it should be super cool. Hey, look, the GoPro's done charging. That's pretty awesome. So what's happening, Chad? What's happening, chatbot? Are you guys just all chatbots? Are you guys all artificial intelligence? Curtis Hayes says, "I have to say I'm impressed with HDZero support. I've heard that from pretty much everyone that's had to deal with HDZero support. Sent them an email and a picture last night, and they almost immediately sent me some great troubleshooting steps, info, and a firmware file. Very cool. I'm sure they'll get me back up one way or another. By the way, they covered so many bases. Very, very cool. Yeah, it was super cool of Brian to swing by on the last stream. Not Brian. Wait. Who swung by on the last stream? My brain is just mush from this holiday, man. It's not discharged yet. Cold Power says, "Did you do the magic Apple /OBS/EOS dance?" I have to every time. every single time. In hooking up these speakers, I must have bumped the plug out of the one of the USB hubs that's velcroed to the bottom of the desk here, and the camera wouldn't turn on. I'm like, oh hell, what's happening here? And then I realized it was just the plug that was out. So I had a little bit of like, oh shit moment. But yeah. Everyday with Bruno says the bass drop is my favorite part. Nice. Cole Power says, have you ever heard of a rotary woofer? I have indeed. There's a YouTube video with mega views that pops up in my feed every once in a while with a crazy rotary woofer. Rotary woofers are how they is one of the ways that they produce frequencies down below 20 hertz. It's one of the only ways to do that, which we can't hear, but we can feel. Brian Tegger says, dude, how the heck do you get such good reception flying outside from in your house? I don't know, dude. Standing inside, I never would have thought standing inside the front door like that, I would be able to like fly around the house in the way that I do. The only thing I can say is that the micro V antennas are awesome, and rapid fire is awesome. Yeah, and like rapid fire doesn't seem to work as well on the HDZero goggles as it does on some of the other goggles. So like if you're using non-HDZero goggles, you'll get even better reception if you come to my house and fly. Dave Gunna says, I think also, I have all these rigs on 25 milliwatts. I don't have them like cranked up to 400 or any wacky shit like that. They might be on 100. They're not on max, though. They might be on 100. They're not on 400, though. Brian Tegger's... no, we got that. Dave Gunna says, I think I screwed some 4mm screws into an 0702 on a newbie drone light AF. I think those busted my motors. They're not spinning anymore. There's no way back, right? So Dave has learned the hard lesson that I've now learned twice, which is that the newbie drone motors do not have... Okay, so on the Happy Model motors, I think also on the Beta FPV motors? Well, these don't even have the PCBs. On Happy Model motors, you've got the stator base, and then you've got the PCB on top of that stator base, where the wires are hooked up to, right? The 3 wires are hooked up to that. That PCB, above the screw holes, the PCB is drilled out, and it's got a nice big hole in it, so that the screw can pass up through the stator and then up through the PCB as well. The newbie drone motors are not like that. The PCB does not have that hole, so you have to run screws that are exactly the right length to only go through the stator base. If they go any farther, they start pushing into the PCB, and if they go extra far, they break the PCB, and then it's game over. I have made this mistake twice live on stream, and I've ruined 2 sets of perfectly good newbie drone 0702s. And now, Dave, you're not the only other one. I think you're the 3rd person in chat that's made that mistake as well. So welcome to the club of donkeys. Yeah, if you look, you'll see your PCB is like this above all 3 of the motor screws, and it's once it breaks, it's broken, and that's it. It sucks, man. I really wish Newbie Drone hadn't designed their motors that way, but that's something I can totally see screwing up. You know what I mean? That's like a pretty specific, like they use a very specific length for their screw and their frame, and then like it's okay. You know, that's an easy. I can totally see how someone overlooked that. Uriel says a good sound card helps speed up your PC too. I'm on a Mac, so we don't play that game. Morton Upshot thought Teddy was a subwoofer. Hillside FPV says, hey, Mr. Ciotti Witch, prop is the best for my old Moblite 6. Which prop is the best for my old Moblite 6 with EX02 19,000 kV motors? Kind regards. Moblite 6 is a pretty lightweight rig, so you're going to want to drop down to 702s. Personally, I like 702 36,000s from Tiny Whoop and 40,000s from Weebleed. but I'm a complete lunatic. You probably don't need that much. One of my favorite motors at the moment, especially for durability, is the Weebleed 0702 32500 kV, which they call the Screamers, which now come with 1.5 millimeter motor shafts on them, which are basically indestructible. At the moment, there's only one set of props available, which are the GemFan 1210s, which Weebleed also sells. They're a great prop. Zotac came into the stream last week and said, yo, there's a bunch more 1.2-inch props coming for these motors. And so you'll have more prop choices very, very soon. It sounds like it's going to be the HQ props too, which is super awesome because they're amazing. So yeah, that's my current kind of favorite motor because of that motor shaft. I like the 40,000s because I like extra power, and Zotac does sell just the bells, so I've been swapping the bells out, but I don't expect anybody else to do that. That's kind of a pain in the ass. So yeah, there you go. Everyday with Bruno says, check your pal pay. Deal. Where is it? Yo, PayPal, what are you doing, dude? Why is it not sending me emails anymore? And they're not going to junk, right? They're not going to junk. PayPal used to send me emails when PayPal payments would come through, but they're not anymore, which is kind of obnoxious. But fortunately, we have the technology. Hang on. It just means I need to leave a PayPal window open. Stop asking me to do Face ID. I'm on a computer, you jerk. I wonder if I may... I shouldn't... I don't remember turning that off. I wonder if there's a way to turn that back on. I wonder if they turned it off and now you have to turn it back on. Bruno with a $20 super, PayPal. Thank you so much, brother. He says, Happy Christmas. As always, thanks for the knowledge, even if I don't always understand. What's nice is, if you listen to me say this stuff a couple times in a row, it'll start to sink in. Don't expect to understand all this stuff the first time or the second time. After you hear it a few times, it'll start to make sense. You'll pick up sort of like the context clues, and you can always just straight up ask me if I say something that doesn't make sense. Please ask me. You're not the only one that doesn't understand it. Believe me. Mario on December 25th with a $20 super chat. I just want to make sure that I gave him a shout out. He says, "Merry Christmas, man. Thanks for saving me from buying junk and saving me hundreds of dollars." I think I caught that. Oh, and then there's the... Oh, I'm so glad I logged in here. There's the... Okay. All right. I got it. Daweed, I didn't realize that he had PayPal'd me for the that chat. The strap, the watch strap. Craig Meyer, thank you again for the PayPal on the 24th as well. All right. So I got this. I just got to leave this opened here, and... all's right with the world. Actually, hang on one second. Let me just do this super quick. I need to print this before, because PayPal is going to log me out, and then I don't want to. I've been waiting to print out a second. The labels are 2 up that I print on, and so sometimes I'll only have one thing to print, and then I have to wait for a second one so that I can print that second label off, because the labels are unreasonably expensive. They're annoyingly expensive. And this is the second one that I was waiting for. So I got that, and then I got this, and then I got this, and so I just need to hit print. Let me just make sure that's right. That's right. That's right. That's right. Yep. Print label, and awesome. Come on, stamps.com. You can do this. I can feel it. There we go. NATO strap. Awesome. I already have it packed. I just needed the label. Good deal. All is right with the world. Hey, on the 12-hour stream, we're going to be adding... Check this out. We're going to be adding... motor heights. We're going to take my calipers, and we are going to measure from the stator base to where the propeller mounts on a whole bunch of different motors, so that we have the heights. This will help us with 0702s, figuring out if they're best for the Cockroach V3 or Light AF frame versus all the other frames. Air 65, Old School Meteor 65, Crown frame, Mobula 6 2024 frame, right? It'll also really help with these 2S builds, figuring out which motors need the longer screws and the risers for the Mobula 7 V3 frame. So that's something that we're going to do on the 12-hour stream. Isn't that exciting? We can also do a little bit of motor testing. I have a couple more 1002s here to test. I've got the Happy Model 1002 20,000. I've got the Flywoo 19-ish thousand, and the Sub 250 1002 20,000. Hey, motor manufacturers, can you maybe, I don't know, stamp the KV onto the motor in a font size that human beings can read? Is that something that you can maybe handle? Good Lord, Flywoo. It's hard to read it with a 5X loop. Let's see what it says. My God, man. 19,800, maybe? I don't know. It's like, it's printed so small that the numbers are like that. So I got that going for me, which is nice. Bruno, thank you, brother. Thank you for the support. Chris Hayes says, go for Sunday. Usually stream then anyway. That's exactly what I'm thinking. Uriel says, it will be a fun Sunday. Indeed. Jason Murphy says, dude, all my stuff is broken too. I'm sure I'm not going to fix everything today, so there is going to be a bunch of fixing stuff on the 12-hour stream. We're going to fly a ton. There's going to be a whole bunch of giveaways, as always. We're going to harass Teddy. What else are we going to do? We are going to get the Walk Snail 2S rig back on its feet. I'm going to tear down the 1S 75mm Walk Snail rig because I'm just never going to fly it, and there's nothing that it does better than the 2S platform. So this is going to get torn apart and put into the 2S frame, so I've got that right here in the on-deck circle. We are going to take the HDZero 75mm rig, and we're going to swap motors. I'm going to take the Beta FPV 1102 22,000s and put those onto here. I'm hoping that that will help with the core temperature nonsense that's going on. I'm also going to try to figure out how the hell to get this HDZero Lux camera mount to sit flat so that the camera is not off to the side like it is right now, which you can probably see from there. Nah, you can't quite see it from there. But if I do this, you'll certainly be able to see it. Right? See how crooked the camera is? You can always tell if you get the camera to focus. But it's not gonna. There it goes. Yeah, see how the camera's sitting in there a little bit sideways? See the gap on the bottom? There's a gap on the left side there, but there's no gap on the right side. It's because of the UFL. See the UFL there is under this side of the camera mount, and you can kind of see it's pushing the camera mount up a little bit there. There's no UFL on this side, and it's sitting flat. So I got to try to boost the middle of this camera mount up enough. Well, we'll figure it out. This is a thing. This is why I don't like I don't really run the this style of camera mount that connects the two sides in the front. This is not the only reason, but it's one of the reasons that I don't like this style of camera mount. I don't know of another camera mount for the HDZero Lux camera, though, that's not like this, right? Like, I'm sure I could put it into one of the McStinky mounts, but I don't run the McStinky mounts because of this. Because a lot of these rigs have, a lot of these AIOs, I should say, have the UFL offset like that. The 2G4, it's offset, but it's on the opposite side. Sometimes they'll also have an ELRS antenna there, a tower antenna, and then it doesn't fit at all. But yeah, I would actually, yeah, I don't know. But we're going to mess around with that. We're going to troubleshoot that. We're going to take a look at, like, maybe we run some spacers above. We'll troubleshoot that issue. That is an issue for sure. Like, if you have builds with, look, all of your builds, take them. And what I like to do is hold the build so that the frame goes flat. You see that? So here you can see the front to back, but if you just twist, right here, the frame is completely flat. And if you hold it like this in front of yourself, you will absolutely see if your camera is cockeyed or not. If your camera is cockeyed, what a weird word. That's like an old person word too. Only old persons? Only old people say cockeyed. But I want to start saying it more. I just want to say cock more often. If your camera is cockeyed, you're not going to fly good. Because when you level the horizon in your goggles, the damn thing is going to slide sideways. And that's a great way to, like, miss every single gap forever. It's one of the major problems with the fractal frames, although they also will yaw the camera. So with those frames, you can have the camera like this and twisted to the side. And having the camera yawed is just as bad, because you'll put the gap that you want to shoot dead center, but then the damn thing will be crabbing. So yeah, that's something that you do want to pay attention to. We also need to figure out the antenna situation on here. I got to figure out how to keep this antenna from going down in between the prop and the duct. So yeah, this thing needs some love. I admittedly was just like throwing it together the other night just to get it up in the air. So this is going to get a little bit of love. It is here in the on-deck circle. For anyone that doesn't know, this is my on-deck circle over here. The stuff that needs work, it gets lined up, and then when I'm trying to think of a live stream to do, I just come over here and I'm like, all right, what do I feel like working on today? I'm not sure why this is in the on-deck circle. This is the 1002 analog 1S rig. Because I want to change the props back. I want to get these... I'm actually going to test these HQ props again versus the GemFan 1610s. So that's more just like for me to test outside. Over here, this is the extra X12 that I pulled off of the 1S 75mm analog rig that I took apart. And in this little bag is the Beta FPV 18,000 kV 1102s and that wacky mount. Why can't I think of what it's called? Insta360 Go 2 mount. I just need a frame. I need another Mobile 7 V3 frame. So I might actually end up taking this thing apart to rob the frame out of it, because I don't think I have any more of the V3 frames. But yeah, this X12 is going to get converted to BT 3.0, and then we're going to put this wacky mount on there, and we're going to have another Insta360 Go 2 carrier. That is the Trans Rights or iBytes rig. I was going to switch that over to... oh, yeah, I am going to switch this over to a CO3 camera. So that'll be cool. So we got, like, lots of stuff going on, man. We got lots of stuff to build and work with. And any hairs up there? I like to try to keep my nose hairs under control. It means a lot to the ladies, my friends. They might not admit it, but maybe it's just because Maggie is an entire foot shorter than me. And so, like, when she looks at me, she just looks straight up my nose. Maybe that's why. But she's not the only one that I've been told that. Look, when it clean yourself up, keep yourself looking somewhat good. You might not look in the mirror. I don't look in the mirror hardly ever. But you know, the people that you live with, they have to look at you. So try to look. Trim your goddamn nose hairs, you animal. Uriel says, we're just smarter than everybody. We better. Brent Anderson says, true confession, was so geeked out about FPV all day that I had 6 sticks in by 5 a.m. Shame on me. No such thing, man. Fly all the batteries. Fly all the sticks. That's a fun thing to call. Tiny Whoop batteries. Sticks. Pizzool750 says, I'm trying to build a 2-inch ripper on the Lightning V2 frame. I have RCinPower 1002 22,000 kV motors, but see that the 1003 are being used. Thoughts on 1002 versus 1003 with 2S? Screw 2S. My thoughts are going to be surrounding 2-inch. 2-inch propellers are too big for 1002s. They're even too big for 1102s, but 1102s are going to be a little bit better with 2-inch props. What you really want for 2-inch props are 1003s or even 1103s. And I think that Lightning V2 frame is a carbon fiber frame, and so that's going to be heavier than Tiny Whoops. And so now you really do want to kick up the motor size. So yeah, 1003 or 1103 is what you're going to want for pairing with a 2-inch prop. Cool. Mario Bean says, what's up, turds? Smirk with the crazy letters again. Uriel says, but sometimes people could think a little bit before they pop the question. Yeah. That's not the world that we live in, though. Google has ruined us. The ability to just ask any question to Google and get damn near a perfect answer has totally ruined it, right? Like, we need to, like, when you ask people questions, yeah, you should try to think for a second before it. But you don't have to do that with the Google machine. So it's human nature to not think before you ask a question, and that's okay. That's all right. If we want to beat the machine, we got to be willing to answer questions that don't have much thought behind them. And I'd rather, you know, I'm down to beat the machines, bro. Let's not let machine learning take over the earth. The earth. Curtis Hayes says, can I just have one model in my radio for all my TVS crossfire quads like I do for ELRS? Yep. You can even use the same model for both TBS crossfire and ELRS. That's what I've been doing forever. I don't have anything different in my model between, and I just swap modules in and out of the radio, and it's all the same. Thrash FPV says, you should get some, oh no, hold on. Cheetonian says, for what it's worth, somebody in the Discord pointed out the other day that AliExpress has Happy Model 802 1.5 millimeter motor shaft bells for sale. Paging Zotek. Yeah, we looked it up on the stream. I pulled it up. That's super cool. I'll continue to buy them from Weebleed. They're in red, and you know, Weebleed shipping is going to be a lot quicker than AliExpress. But for anybody outside of the U.S., that's amazing that AliExpress has that. Is this camera not straight? Hold on. Do I have like a string that I can yeah. Here we go. Hold on. I moved this camera all around, and now I feel like it might not be straight. Stop wiggling! It's this one, right? No, that's all right. No, it's all fucking janky. Hold on, I'll just do it by eye. Azalea's upstairs screaming. I think she's playing Fortnite. She was downloading a Fortnite update all day long. It looks like it's off. This way? Jesus. Something horrifying must have just happened. There it is. Perfect. This is not going well. Oh, wait a second. I have a bubble level on top of the camera. Hold on. Hold up. I forgot. Let's get this fixed real quick here. Oh, it looks pretty good, actually. Shit, the bubble level's like dead on. Well, hell, I got it. Okay. Now it's pointed up too much, though. I don't want it to show that much ceiling, so let's see if I can bring it down without screwing the level. Nope. Fucked it all up. I can deal with the rotation in a minute. I'll deal with it now. Alright, that's about right. Okay. Nope. Nope. Well, now I've effed up the zoom. Oh, God. Oh, God. Is that better? I don't know. I think I made it worse. Hold on. No, it's... I can see that the camera is not level. Oh, God. Really? Really? You're gonna do me like that? EOS jerks. Oh my God, Azalea. Easy. Hold on. Oh, Canon, I'm gonna burn your shit to the ground. This is what happens when she plays Fortnite. It's apparently the game it's a horror game. According to the screaming. There we go. Alright. That looks exactly like it did before. Perfect. Trash FPV says you should get some print filament for the 12-hour stream and do some printer stuff. That's another thing that we're gonna do. I have a roll of the Violet SaneSmart TPU in the dryer. I haven't fired the dryer up. By the way, my dryer does have a fan built in, which is awesome. So yeah, I've got some in the dryer. I'll turn that dryer on like tomorrow night. And then I've actually got I've got that reel and 3 more reels of the SaneSmart Violet. I was afraid that they would discontinue it. And then I've got 1 reel of the red see-through SaneSmart TPU. And that's pretty much all the 3D print filament that I should ever need. I really love that violet. That color is just so cool. And it's just opaque enough that the red recording light on the GoPros will shine right through it. So yeah, most stuff that I print is going to be in that violet, but it is cool to have the red as well. What I like to do is low up tilt mounts I'll print in the violet, and then high up tilt mounts I'll print in the red. Red for like hot, for fast, and then violet for, you know, chill and everything else. And that way in your bag, there's no mistaking the 40-degree up tilt mount from the 10-degree up tilt mount, for example. Uriel says, so at 9 Greenwich time, you go viral. 8 in Holland. 2 o'clock Eastern time. That's what I'll say. Mario Bean says, how's the quality on that Tiny Whoop shirt? I almost bought one, but it looked like thin material in the photos. It's really nice. This is one of my favorite shirts ever. The printing is like super crisp and like it's not just an iron-on shirt. It's whatever this. It's like whatever this brand is. I don't know. Whatever that is. Next Level or whatever. Yeah, it's not. I wouldn't say that it's thin, but it's not like one of those Hanes thick ass t-shirts. But I don't like those. Those get super hot in the summertime. This is just right. I love this shirt. They have it in white and black. Cheetonian says, I want to know if the Lux camera is outputting standard CVPS or if it could be used with an analog VTX. Cheetonian, you just reminded me that I'm actually going to be taking the Lux camera out of this because I scratched the goddamn lens on like the 4th crash. Yep, there it is. Big old scratch in the lens. Apparently it's a plastic lens to save weight. And so, yeah, the Lux camera is not for freestyle bashing. So I don't even have to worry about getting this camera mount to sit flat. I'm going to go back to the EcoCam. Oh, thank you for the reminder. Luckily, the EcoCam I left in the Mobula 6 canopy. I'm also kind of looking forward to having that back into a Mobula 6 canopy for durability's sake. So, yeah. I'll get, at some point, I'll keep the Lux camera, and I will get a replacement lens for it. But for now, I'm just going to swap it out. The Eco camera, it's okay. The field of view is wacky. But I'm going to be flying it outside, so yeah, kind of is what it is. Also, outside, there'll be a lot less red. The Eco camera has a really hard time with red. There's lots of red in this basement. So, like, flying that thing around in this basement is, like, the worst-case scenario for that Eco cam. But that thing is built for outside flying, so it should be a lot better. Also, the Eco cam is lighter, and that'll be nice. So, yeah, there's that. In the meantime, while I'm waiting to get a new Lux lens, maybe another canopy will come out for that camera that doesn't have the same problems as this mount. So yeah, we'll see. Hockey Round says, turn the flight controller 90 degrees UFL clearance. Yeah, but then the battery leads will hit the battery. So then I would have to run direct soldered motors, which I'm not going to do. I could rotate it 180 degrees, but then the battery lead would come out the front, and I hate that because then when you fly really low and scrape against the ground, it like hammers the shit out of the battery lead and the wires and whatnot. So yeah. Maybe once I decide the right set of motors for that build, maybe I'll direct solder the motors. But I doubt it. I hate it. I hate having direct soldered motors. I seriously, I don't fly rigs hard because although it'll be on 1.5mm motor shaft motors, so. But then, like, I can't take those motors off and use them on something else. Like, it's just so annoying. Render says, my pub is 180 degrees from yours. PCB is 180 degrees from yours. What PCB is that? Morton Upshot says, would a 2mm spacer on the front canopy mount be enough? Probably. That would give it a whole bunch of extra up tilt, though, which I don't necessarily want. But, yeah, I'm coming off that mount. And camera. Notice put a comma after CiottiFPV, so it didn't light up in orange, but I just happened to see it. He says, fire up your printer. I'll send you a print adapter that allows the Lux to mount in the ball sack canopy. Oh, well, that's pretty cool. I'm going to run the printer. I'm going to set the printer up on the 12-hour stream. That's awesome. I wonder if this one that Timmons sent me will work. Timmons made a CO3 adapter for the upside down ball sack canopy. I wonder if the Lux would slot into this. Man, YouTube is probably going to shit the bed at some point. That's why we're getting all this stuttering. Yeah, the capture card's not plugged in. So at some point, YouTube will bomb the chat, and I'll have to restart it. But then the stuttering will go away, which will be nice. So just hold on for that. It'll be just terrific. Brad Anderson says, I've been clipping off the plastic screw mounts to spare Beta FPV camera mounts to use as shims. Nice small hole, could sand down for thickness. Plastic screw mounts. Plastic screw mounts. Beta FPV camera mounts to use as shims. Interesting. I have a whole bunch of tiny little shims that I could use. Cold Power says, grow up, it's penis-eyed. What's that in reference to? That was at 7:35. What's penis-eyed? Render says, UFL should be in the back on the passenger side, and Happy Model has a UFL 3D print to keep the antenna in place now. Ooh, that's pretty cool. Looks like we're going to print a bunch of... Well, no, we're not, because I'm not going to run that mount, but... Cheatonian says, I soldered Beta FPV 1102 23,000s to an HDZero AIO5. Do you think I'll get more cruising time in a Mobula 7 frame with 40mm props or Meteor 75 Pro with 45? Oh, man, that's a good question. Test it and let us know. The Meteor 75 Pro frame is a lot heavier. Which hurts runtime, but the propellers are bigger. So it might be a wash. It may very well be a wash, but I have found that the 75 Pro setups on the 1102 22,000s do legitimately make more power than the regular 1.6-inch props setups. That makes sense though, right? Like if the bigger propeller makes 1 more gram of thrust, then that's 4 extra grams of thrust, and that's basically the amount of extra weight that the Meteor 75 Pro frame carries. So yeah, going up in prop size almost always gets you more better power to weight ratio, but for the entire length of the battery, you have to carry around that extra weight, and so that can either hurt or have the runtime be a wash on the two. So yeah, I do not know, but let us know. That'll be a great data point. Thrash FPV says, what budget camera do you recommend now that the Runcam Nano 3 is out of stock? The FXT, the camera that comes with the come on YouTube, just get it over with and fail so that I can restart this shit. You can get the FXT on Weebleed's website. Search for FXT, and there it is. FXT FX17-B. All you got to do is file the front opening of the Mobula 6 canopy a little bit for this bigger lens to poke through. It's super easy. Sit on your couch while you're watching a movie doing it. It's no big deal. I really, really, really like this camera. I have one of these, and it's on one of my RC drift car chasing rigs, and it just looks great. It's a little bit bright, but I'm okay with that. Cheatonian says nose hairs are so annoying as you age. Yeah, I don't remember having nose hair issues when I was younger. Uriel says you need a lighter, pump some gas in it, and ignite ears too. It works. Great. Thrash FPV says, how tall are you? I am 6'2". Just tall enough to hit my head on shit, which is super annoying, and not fit in some cars, which really sucks. Everyday Earth Bruno says cockeyed equals penis eye. Oh, okay. This camera mount is penis eyed. There we go. Render says the Happy Model mount. There it is. Thank you, YouTube, for shitting the bed. Way to suck at life, you giant. Never mind. Pop out chat. Chat's opening up. There we go. Top chat to live chat, and we're back in business. Render says the Happy Model mount is for the antenna at the back of the whoop and keeps the antenna pointed up and away. Yeah, if that antenna was at the back, that would be way better. I would still have this problem with the micro V antenna, but I would probably just go to I'd probably just go to an ultra short singularity and just hang it right in between the rear ducts, and it would be good to go forever. Uriel says, I start to understand your streaming problems. I'm waiting for a check from YouTube about behavior. Mario Bean says, nice Weebly Band-Aid, what happened? I have generalized anxiety disorder, and the holidays are super stressful for me, and so I eat my fingers like an actual crazy person. I pick at my fingers, and if I put a Band-Aid there, I can't sit here and pick at it like a actual crazy person. And so, yeah. Uriel says, are you well insured? For the next 4 days, I am not insured at all. Cold Power says, this is what happens when you do a heel toe when you were supposed to do a kickflip in your EOS utility dance. No, it just does this. It just dies. Thrash FPV says, did you try recalibrating your bubble level? I did not. Uriel says, green light is also off. What green light? Cold Power says, main camera is level within a degree. I'm using the bookshelf in your back to judge. Nice. Cheetonian says, well, how did I miss all these messages? Cheetonian says, 802 bells, not 702. Just saying Zotac should add 802 bells as well, as they clearly exist. Good call. I forgot about that. Yeah. Right. They're 802s, not 702s. Yeah, that would be awesome. We wouldn't have to keep buying iGAO motors and stealing the bells off of them. Yeah, 802 one. Oh, well, yeah, right. We can just buy the RS 0802 motors and then pull those bells off. But yeah, just buying the bells would be cheaper than message. Go to Instagram, pull up Weebleed's channel, shoot Zotac a message, and say, hey man, any plans of getting 802 1.5mm shaft bells in stock? I would buy a bunch. They exist, and drop him the link to AliExpress, because that means that Happy Model makes them and he can just buy a bunch. If a couple of you guys message him that, I guarantee you he will order them and get them in stock. All right, I think I'm caught up on the top of chat here. Let me scroll back down, and here we go. King Dingling says, I tried flashing Rosser's Blue Jay settings. Battery died mid-flash. Went from reading 3 ESCs to 0 after I banned myself from fixing anything for a while. Love FPV. I've had that happen, and I just went back in and reflashed, and it was totally fine. I've had somebody in chat had that happen, and it was not fine. And he had to, like, solder to the secret pins, and it was a total nightmare. But he did eventually get it fixed. Maybe whoever it was will... I don't know if I would go that... I don't know if I would spend that much time. I think I would throw that AIO in the river and get another one. But Thrash FPV says, you'll find a lot more prints before you know it. Just found a modular LED whoop gate system for tunnels, towers, cube gates, and hex and square gates. Absolutely wild. Yeah, I limit the amount of time that I spend on Thingiverse because there's so much cool stuff. Willie Summit says, is FXT the same company that made the Viper box goggle? I'm not sure, but FXT is the company that makes Jesse from Tiny Whoop's favorite cameras. I think it's public knowledge that Tiny Whoop cameras are almost always FXT cameras. And so, yeah, FXT makes great analog cameras. Freelojo says, hair growing from odd spots on one's ears is fun too as you get older. Morton Upshot says, someone upstairs being murdered. Nope, that's just life with kids. That is a 14-year-old Azalea playing Fortnite on the PS4. Uriel says, at Cult 3D, oh god. Cheetonian says, hard to tell if Child is screaming or Teddy howling in the background. Sergio Neves says, Tron 80 HD with runcam thumb, 1 minute and 50 second flight time with 3S 550 mAh. Jesus Christ. Any thoughts on why? Oh my god, dude, that's a huge battery. Why is the runtime so low? What the shit? Hold on, let me look up that build. Good lord, dude, 1 minute and 50 seconds. What are they doing? Well, I mean, it's heavy. This is just a heavy build. 80 as in, no, F your cookies. 80 as in motor to motor, so then that means it's a 1.6 inch propeller. Yeah, these are wow, okay. So what are you doing, T-motor? This is a, well, so you should certainly be getting more than 1 minute and 50. That being said, this is a really silly build. This is way too small of a propeller for a build that's going to be this heavy. And so I am staggered that they're claiming 6 to 7 minute flight times. That must be... that guaranteed there's no camera, there's nothing that is like as light as it can possibly be. Put a fresh set of propellers on there, check the motor shafts to see if they're bent, and then look for loose screws somewhere. A runtime of 1.5 minutes when they're saying 6 to 7 minutes, well, oh, and you're running a bigger battery than this. But see, they got this runtime apparently on a 3S 450. You're running a 3S 550. This thing is so small that bigger battery might actually be hurting you, because it's just having to, like, it's just struggling, man. There's no reason for them to have made this on a 1.6 inch prop. This needs to be a 2 inch prop, if not a 2.5 inch prop. Going from a 1.6 inch prop to a 2 inch propeller would have made, if it's this big, it would have become this big. This is a really silly build. This is the hype train right here. Yeah, it's got a full-size Vista on it. Like, this is a ridiculous build. There's gotta the pit. Are the motors hot? Let me guess. The motors are hot as hell when the thing comes down. If you're only getting 1.5 minutes of runtime, either the battery is shot or the PID loop is freaking out. When the PID loop freaks out, it speeds up, slows down, speeds up, slows down, speeds up, slows down the motors. When that's happening, the motors will be hot, like hot. So fly it for like 10 seconds, land it, and then touch the motors with your index finger. If you can't touch a motor and keep your finger on it for like 5 seconds without like, ow, that's hot, the motors are too hot. Either the props are bent up, the motors are bent up, or there's something else causing either too many vibrations or the wrong vibrations to make it into the gyro on the flight controller board, on the AIO. And when that happens, the PID loop speeds up the motors, slows down the motors, speeds up the motors, slows down the motors. It's physically vibrating, and the PID loop is trying to fix that. So, like, let's say you've got a motor shaft that's bent up, which is going to be my guess. That motor shaft is making the whole build do this. And then so when the build does this, the PID loop is going to speed these motors up and break these motors down. And then when the build does this, it's going to break these motors down and speed these motors up. And that constant acceleration and deceleration uses up tons of electricity. And it heats the motors up quite a bit. So that is almost certainly what's going on here. But here's the first question I should have asked you, which is that, has it always been like this? Was it totally fine out of the box, and then you started flying it, maybe you crashed it a couple times, and now it started doing this? If that's the case, you almost certainly have a bent motor shaft. Also, so these motors, I'm trying to see which motors are on here. These are probably 1 millimeter motor shaft motors, and then this is a really big, fat, heavy rig. And so, like, if you've crashed this thing one time, it probably bent the motor shafts up. Yeah, so this is an absolutely ridiculous rig. So not only is this rig heavy as hell, it also has a carbon fiber frame, so when you crash, the motors can't move like they can in a plastic frame to absorb some of the shock. So the motor is completely hard mounted, and then it's got a 1mm motor shaft. I can just tell by looking at it that this is a 1mm motor shaft. So you've got the weakest possible motor shaft. The motors are mounted to carbon fiber, which is a terrible idea because it hammers the shit out of the motor shaft because the motors can't bend with crashes. And then the rig is extra heavy. So, like, there is no chance for this thing. There's no chance for these motors to not have bent motor shafts if you've crashed it even once. God forbid you crashed it twice. So, yeah, this is a really silly build. If you swap the motor out, if you repair the motor, if you swap the motor out, you're just going to bend another motor shaft. I'm going to venture to say every single time you crash this, you're going to bend a motor shaft. I would pull this thing completely apart, use the Vista in another build, and just these motors are worthless because of the 1mm motor shaft. These are big ass motors that are low kV. So you have to run them on a 3S battery to get any kind of power out of them. 3S batteries are going to be heavy as hell. So unfortunately, these motors are just useless. If these motors had a 1.5mm motor shaft, they might be somewhat useful. I can't even tell what. Hold on. Let me figure out what the stator size of the motors are. Sorry to shit all over this rig, dude, but like, it is a 1.5mm motor shaft. Okay. All right. So you still might have a bent motor shaft because this thing is super heavy. A 3S battery is going to be really heavy. It's got all this cladding and the carbon fiber, so the motor shaft still might be bent. That's good. These motors are not worthless. This build, though, I don't know, man. This is an awful heavy build for 1.6-inch props. It's never going to fly all that great. Yeah. Put a set of fresh props on it. Check to see if the motor shafts are bent. Easiest way to do that is to put it into Betaflight, go into the motors tab, drag the motors tab up very slowly just so that the motors will barely... Take the propellers off. Put it into Betaflight, plug a battery in, spin the motors as slow as you can in the motors tab. So the motor's going to be spinning really slowly. Take your fingernail and put it next to the motor shaft. If the motor shaft is not bent, it'll be smooth. If the motor shaft is bent, you'll feel it on your fingertip. The motors are spinning nice and slow, so you'll feel it on your fingernail, rather. You'll feel that the motor is doing this as it spins around because it's bent. If any of the motor shafts are bent, you have to replace those motors. If all of the motor shafts are bent, bail. Take this thing apart, build something, use the Vista in something, throw these motors in the river, and just start all over. This frame doesn't necessarily make much sense. Like, it just... This is a build that... The only reason to build a quad like this is if you're going to pick up a Insta360 Go 2, 3, a naked GoPro, something like that. These 1.6-inch props are way too small to give you any kind of flight time or performance when picking up something that heavy. I speak from experience with the tiny lifters. You'll be much better off doing a 2-inch build if you want to pick up a camera like that. If you don't want to pick up an external HD camera, just build a regular tiny whoop. Build like a 2-inch tiny whoop. It'll perform so much better. Center mounted camera. It'll be like 10 grams lighter, probably 15 grams lighter. You can even go down to 2S for even better performance, but you won't be able to use these motors. Yeah, it kind of depends on what's destroyed on this rig, but this is a super awkward build. So yeah, there's a bunch of stuff for you to try. Sorry to like hammer on this build so bad. But yeah. This is just not how you build something that flies good. What is this? What the hell is happening here? What? They're doing it. What? What is this? Why is the propeller so spaced out? If this is what yours looks like, I can almost guarantee you that the motor shafts are bent, because that's absolutely asinine to push the propeller that far down. Even if the motor shaft is really 1.5 millimeters, spacing the prop that far out is going to make a big long lever, and it's going to just bend the hell out of it. What are you doing, T-Motor? Oh my god, look how heavy it is. It's 68 grams without the battery. T-Motor, come on, man. Talk to one single person that actually flies FPV before you do a build. This is awesome. Good work here, fellas. Man, I love kids, man. T-Motor, come on, man. You're better than that. You make great motors. Don't. What are you doing? All right. Enough trashing on a build that somebody spent like $250+ on. Sorry, dude. I really this is not. I have nothing against you. I'm just being honest. I hope that I didn't make you feel horrible. I probably did, but yeah, I really don't like it when these manufacturers do stuff like this that makes no sense. Because until you've been in this hobby for a bunch of years, there's no way for you to know that like, I can take a look at that website for that build and be like, oh my god, this is the dumbest thing ever because of this and this and this and this and this, because I've been into FPV for 8 years. If you've only been into FPV for a year or two, there's no way that you can do that. And that's what upsets me. It upsets me that T-Motor makes and sells that. And so the question becomes, like, A, do they just not have anybody that works for them that flies FPV that would know so many parts of that build are a terrible idea? Or B, or is it just all aboard the hype train? We need to make something that's going to sell, so let's just, take a bunch of bullet points that look good on paper to new pilots and shit something out that is going to sell, and then we can make a bunch of money, right? Either way, like, come on. Don't do that. I want them to continue to exist, right? Like, I want T-Motor to exist so that I can keep buying their awesome motors, but, like, it doesn't help. You know what I'm saying. You guys know what I'm saying. It's hard. Make it better. All they would have had to do is make that a 2-inch rig, and, like, those motors still look ridiculous, but yeah, if they'd made that a 2-inch rig, it would have a much better chance of doing all things better, and they wouldn't have to lie about the runtime. I'm super skeptical of that thing getting 6 to 7 minutes runtime, but it's pretty bold to put an outright lie on your website like that. So I don't know. Thrash FPV says, I've gone through 28 rolls of filament in 6 months of printing after thinking, I don't have much to print. I'm terrible with finding new shit to print. Tri-State Drone Services says, I decided to revisit my Beta FPV 65 Pro. I got it down to 18 grams and running 30,000 kV Unibells. What size motors? 802? The results are pretty damn good. Have you tried a similar rig? Thoughts? I tested the new GemFan 35S propellers on a live stream last week, maybe? And it didn't go well. Here it is. But that could be because I was using 0603 prototype 30,000 kV motors. I just put the link in the chat. It would have probably... So the biggest problem was that the runtime was horrendous. Minute and 50-second runtime inside the house, minute and 30-second runtime outside the house. It was also needlessly heavy inside, heavier than regular 65mm rigs inside the house, so it wasn't as good inside. And then it was less powerful and less efficient than 75mm rigs outside the house, so it wasn't as good outside the house. So it was worse inside and it was worse outside, and so I just tore it apart. That has been my thought on 35mm props from the beginning. These new GemFan 35mm props are way better than the old ones. So if you're desperate to have a 35mm build, they're the props for you, for sure. But for me, I will stick with a regular ultra lightweight 65mm rig inside and a 75mm rig outside. And with how inexpensive tiny whoops are, I have a really hard time saying, if you can only afford one tiny whoop, it should be a 35mm build so that you can do inside work and outside work. You can knock out a damn near ultimate performance build for like $140, right? And so you do that with a 65 for inside and you have a better flight experience inside the house. You do that with a 2S75 for outside and you have an unbelievable flight experience outside the house. Easy for me to say, right? White guy living in America with some money, but still, I would actually rather have a rockin' 65mm build, and then fly this outside rather than a 35mm setup. So yeah, I can't recommend the 35mm stuff. It only really makes sense if you're just desperate to, if a part of the fun is having something different, then by all means go for it. And that's totally fine, right? Like the car community is notorious for that. Like everybody wants to be unique. Everybody wants to have something that's their own that nobody else has. And if that makes you smile, they're like, it's all good. That's not me. I'm not that person. I try to build stuff that is going to fly absolutely as good as possible, because for me, nailing the big gnarly inverted backwards power loop through the gate into a Matty flip into the dive tunnel, that's the juice for me. And so, focusing on performance is kind of like my deal. That's not right or wrong. That's just sort of the way that I am. So yeah, the 65mm Pro builds, it's not my deal. But if you guys love it, you should do it, because that's all that matters, and there are no wrong answers in this. So yeah, but not for me, unfortunately. And I get it. You want the guy that you watch on YouTube to fly the thing that you love the most. Believe me, I get that. I watch a lot of Miata stuff on YouTube for that same reason. But yeah, the 65 Pro doesn't do anything better than the regular 65 stuff, unfortunately, even with the better props. But it does fly a lot better with these new GemFan props, so that's great. We're very lucky to have them. Cold Front and Penguin says, if I add Expo to my rig, will that make my quad less twitchy for freestyle? Probably. Should I just use midpoint adjustments in beta instead? I don't know what that last part means. But Expo, what Expo does is it softens up the middle of the stick travel. It's not going to do anything in here. It's not going to do anything out here. It's going to do everything in the middle of the stick travel. So as you push the stick out, the quad is more slowly going to accelerate into whatever you're pushing it into, right? Roll. So if you have no expo and you start pushing this roll out like this, it's going to be totally linear. It's going to speed up, speed up, speed up, speed up, and then eventually when you get to the plastic, it's going to be at the maximum rotational velocity. With Expo, as you push it out towards the end point, it's going to go little bit faster, a little bit faster. And then at the end point, it's going to go, whoa, and it's going to really like ramp up quickly as you get close to the end of the plastic. Most people don't fly with a lot of rotation. So like what I did when I was dialing in my rates way back when is I just pointed a camera at my sticks and I took a look at what I wanted to see is how often do I use the different points of the throw. And what I wanted to see was when I was flying a normal battery, I wanted to see myself using every part of the stick travel. What I didn't want is to see the whole battery I'm flying in here, and then every once in a while I go to the outside, and then I fly in here for 10 seconds, and then I go to the outside, and then I fly in here for 10 more seconds, and then I go to the outside, and then I fly in here. What I wanted to see was this. I wanted to be moving the stick and using the entire throw as much as possible. And that's what Expo does for me, personally. Every pilot is different. If lots of Expo, I run 0.7 Expo on pitch, roll, and yaw. What that does is it slows everything down for me. I can still get a big hit of rotation, but I have to put the stick all the way out into the plastic. That's fine. I want to do most of my flying with as slow and steady movements, and if I can move the stick a bunch to do that, then I have lots of control over that, and it'll be like less twitchy. Basically, the more Expo, the less twitchy. No Expo, you're doing everything in the middle here, and if you like move it a little bit, it's gonna like the quad's gonna rotate like crazy. Throttle Expo is kind of the same way, but not really. If you're interested in Throttle Expo, go to my channel and search for Throttle Expo. There's a couple live streams where I really dig into it. You have to dig into it and listen to me talk for 45 minutes to accurately dial in the Throttle Expo. If you're not willing to do that, don't use Throttle Expo, because you will almost definitely make the situation worse. But yeah, I don't get the... You said less twitchy, so I'm assuming that you don't mean Throttle Expo. Sergio says it has a run cam thumb on top as well. Okay, cool. I've tried with a new set of propellers. I had to add a resistor to make ELRS work on this quad. Maybe that's it. That's super weird. Wow. Okay. Had to add a resistor to make ELRS work. The only way that makes any sense is that the AIO had too much electrical noise. Sean, welcome to the club, my friend. There was too much electrical noise, and for some reason that made ELRS get grumpy. Adding a capacitor, I'm assuming that you meant capacitor, not resistor. Adding a capacitor sometimes will clean up the electrical system a little bit. An AIO with a noisy electrical system will typically make the PID loop freak out. And so that could be a part of the reason that be a part of the reason that you're getting such short run times. Boy, run cam thumb is not very heavy. I mean, so they obviously, when they did that 6 to 7 minute test, they had no run cam thumb on there, right? So you adding the run cam thumb is going to knock at least a minute, maybe 2 minutes off the runtime. But now we're still at like 6 to 5 minutes, or math, 4 to 5 minutes, not a minute and 50. Yeah, something nasty's going on there. Porky Chop says, LMAO, turn that field to pieces. Yeah, sorry. Dave S says it's a 1.5. Scroll down to the product page. Okay. So yeah, we already talked about it. Yeah, no, you should get more than a minute and 50 with the run cam thumb on top. There's something going on. Check to see if the motors are running hot. That'll tell us a lot. Dave, we got that. Moss1 says, congrats on the gig. Thanks, dude. Dave S says, would 802.4 16,500 work on 2S in a Mobula 7 frame? Yeah, 16,500 kV is like actually really good. You probably can run those at 100%. King Dingaling says unmolested petrel 75 frame equals 5.5 grams. Mobula 7 V4 5.39. Mobula 7 V3 5.66. Okay. If you're okay with using rubber bands for your batteries, the HDLRC petrel 75 frame seems like a half decent choice. That's a good weight. 5.526 grams. Lighter than the Mob 7 V3, not quite as light as the V4. Good deal. Thanks for weighing that for us, King Dingaling. Very cool. Dingaling also says, I could call you King, but what fun is that? Dingaling also says, I might have found my winner frame. I snapped a ball sack canopy in half in a light crash, so I might go with the petrel canopy at 1.5 grams. It should stand up to the Utah cold. Nice. Let us know how it stands up. Tri-State Drone Services says the 0802s get 2 minutes and 40 with hard freestyle. I really put it together so I could get over a minute and a half with hard freestyle. 2 minutes and 40 is pretty good. I always shoot for 3, but you said hard freestyle, and sometimes, yeah. You got to make some sacrifices there. Mario Bean says, I just got back. The other problem I have with the Meteor 65 Pro frame is that when I tried it way long ago, it did not hold up. It was super fragile. They're really thin, but everybody crashes differently. So Mario Bean says, just got back. I also pick my fingers too. Always anxious, but right now my fingers are solid. Nice. Yeah, I have periods where I don't annihilate my fingers, but it's what it is. If you're going to be crazy, you might as well be crazy in front of like 1,000 people per live stream. Uriel says, what's your favorite drone on Velocidrone? The Glide. I don't really play Velocidrone much anymore, so I don't really know. Iric Gripboy Toff is in the house. He says, capacitor also helps with brownouts. It does indeed, yeah. Running a capacitor is a really good idea. There's almost no negatives to running a capacitor. On tiny whoops, it's kind of a pain in the ass to fit one of them, but yeah. Running a cap is a good idea, and they're pretty lightweight. Cold Front and Penguin says, thanks a lot. Just to clarify, throttle midpoint and expo coincide with each other, or are they not related in any way when it comes to aggressive freestyle? Sorry, that was my last question. I'm not going to dive into that, because seriously, like, if you have that question, you got to watch the live stream with throttle midpoint. It really is. It's a little confusing. Throttle like, in itself, it's not confusing. What it does is not confusing. The confusing part is how much throttle expo you run and how you need to dial in the midpoint. It's legitimately difficult to do. And if you don't have like a really good understanding of how to do it, you're going to make the situation worse, because the midpoint, you're either going to run too much throttle expo, or you're going to have the midpoint in the wrong spot. And if you do either one of those things, it's going to make the situation worse. So if you're going to dive into throttle expo and you don't like totally understand it, upside down, backwards with your eyes closed, then don't do it. I'm serious. Just do not do it. Everybody that says that throttle expo is bad has not taken the time to experiment with it or watch me rant about it for 45 minutes. It is legitimately hard to get it perfect to the point where it helps all the time and like almost never hurts you. It's always going to hurt you a little bit, but the point is you want it to hurt you in an area of the throttle that you barely ever use. And that's where the nuance is. So you can use this little magnifying glass on anybody's channel. Go to my channel, click the magnifying glass, search for Throttle Expo. These two live streams, I really dialed into it. This is the more recent one. So this is probably the one to watch. And it's like 45 minutes, but I'm telling you got to understand it. The more Throttle Expo you add, the more narrow of a range it helps, and the more of the throttle it hurts. So you need to understand that. And then you also need to understand how high to put it with the midpoint. If you get it a little bit too high or a little bit too low, it's going to make the situation a lot worse. And like figuring out exactly where to put it is kind of confusing. Like, it's a thing. But if you take the time and if you get it set perfectly, it is fucking magic. It is the only way that I'm able to do what I do with the RC drift cars. Anybody that has tried to chase those little RC drift cars will know it is outrageously difficult. Look at, there's a bunch of people that have done it. If you search for like RC drift FPV, you'll find, oh, farts. You'll find a bunch of people that have done it. I don't think you'll find anybody that has been able to do what I've done with it and drop down on their door. What the hell is going on, YouTube? Why are you so awful all the time? Dude. Oh my God. Oh, well, this is people putting... Yeah, all right. Here you go. So, Tricky FPV is one of the only guys... Oh, I'm not sharing my screen. Tricky FPV is one of the only guys that's been able to drop down on their doors. You'll find a bunch of other people that have done it, though, if you look hard enough. And what you'll notice is nobody can drop down on their doors like I do, because it's really hard, because you're flying like 1 or 2 millimeters off the carpet. And that is incredibly difficult to do. But with Throttle Expo that's perfectly dialed in, you can do it with enough practice. I've also practiced a lot. So yeah, there you go. It's tough. It's a tough thing to do. Uriel says YouTube kicked me out. Yeah, it's bad for everybody. It's unbelievable. Melderton says, as we speak, I'm working on a short that is like an advertisement for the advantages of Throttle Expo. Nice. I love it, dude. Yeah, it's tough cold fronting, but you can do it. If you're hanging around here, you can absolutely figure it out, but you got to put the time in. You really do have to put the time in to understanding it. And then once you totally understand it, you have to put a bunch of time into dialing it in. That's like the majority of the time that I spend in that 45 minutes is like explaining exactly what you have to do to figure out how to dial it in. That's really what it's all about. It's getting it so that, like, yeah, you have the exact right amount and the midpoint is absolutely perfect. And the other reason that you really have to understand it is that if you have a rig that you perfectly set the Throttle Expo here in your house, and then you fly outside your house, it's going to be completely wrong. And you're going to have to completely change it for flying outside the house. You go to your buddy's house, it's going to be wrong. You're going to have to change it for his house. And so you have to understand it top to bottom so that when you go to a different spot, or if you change what your rig weighs, or if you start flying different, if you decide that you want to fly faster, you got to change it. If you change your motors and they're all up weight, you got to change it. Like, there's all these situations where you will have to redial it in. And so you got to really get it. If you're willing to go down that rabbit hole, though, it's not that hard to understand, because it's only 2 things. How much expo, how violent the S-curve is, and where the middle of the S-curve is. So it's not that hard to understand. So you can absolutely figure it out, and then you start messing around with it, and within like probably a week or 2, you'll really get it. But I mean, for the record, you're signing yourself up for like probably about like 10 hours. You're going to listen to me talk for at least an hour. You might have to watch that again. And then you're going to have to spend a bunch of time dialing it in, and you're not going to get it, and you're going to get it, and then you're not going to get it, and then it's going to fall into place, and you're going to be like, okay, got it. And then you're going to fly outside, and you're going to be like, oh, wow, this feels terrible now, and then you'll dial it, and you'll fly to buddy's house, and oh, this feels terrible again, right? So it's a thing, but boy, when you get it, and when you fully understand it, it makes altitude control so much easier. So much easier. And that's one of the magic things about tiny whoops, right? Like being able to fly like an inch away from stuff, that's hard to do. And this is one of the best ways to help with that. Let's fix some shit, my friends. This is turned way down. By the way, I hopefully I mentioned this on the last stream. Shout out to GemFan for a big old box of propellers. This is my sponsor box of propellers with a very cool Merry Christmas box of some other stuff. On the on the 12-hour stream, there are going to be some massive prop giveaways because I still have 2 big bags of these 4934s from the last time that they sent me a sponsor box, and I haven't really been flying much, if any, 5-inch stuff. I've also got a ton that they didn't ask me what props, they just sent me the same props that they did last time. I've now got 4 of these giant bags of 70-35 glass nylon, I think these are. So if you've got friends that fly long range, and if these are good, I don't even know if these are good or not. I haven't, I don't have the 7-inch arms to fly. I have the motors. I don't have the arms to build a 7-inch glide. Yeah, I have lots of 7-inch props. Get your asses to the 12-hour stream, and I'll do a giant 7-inch prop giveaway, and you can get a whole bunch of, you can potentially win a whole bunch of 7-inch props. Cool? Thank you, GemFan, for continuing to be an awesome sponsor and making some really good props. I hope that, I hope that GemFan comes out with some new Tiny Whoop propellers that can keep up with the new HQ props. It is, quite frankly, amazing that the 1210s have been like the best propeller for so long. It was only a matter of time before somebody else, you know, the newer the prop, the better it performs. Like, the end. That's been the case for the last 8 years. Every single time there's a new prop, it performs better than the previous gen. And the HQ ultralight props, they're just newer. They're a lot newer than almost all of the GemFan props, other than the 1219Ss. So, yeah. And the GemFan 1210 is still a great prop. It's not quite as good as the brand new HQ 1.2 by 1.2 by 2, but it's still a great prop. And it's way more durable. So if you want a durable 1.2-inch biblade, it's still the one. And that's wild, because that's like a 2-plus-year-old propeller. So Cold Front and Penguin with a $5 super chat. He says, thanks for answering and helping. You're certainly welcome, my friend. How many people are interested in the 7-inch props? Type, I've got a 7-inch Wang. What a child I am. Is that a good propeller? Is that 70-35 a good 7-inch prop? I know there's I know that in the 7-inch world there aren't many propellers that are perfectly balanced. And I think that I did some research before asking for that particular prop, but that was a long time ago. Might have been a year ago. I'm not sure. Yeah, I'm not sure how long ago that was. Cold Front says they only have 3 options from it. Look at all you people that fly 7-inch rigs. What the hell is wrong with you all? All right, cool. So yeah, we'll do a bunch of 7-inch prop giveaways on the 12-hour stream. Do me a favor. Remind me. Oh, Uriel, yeah, good point. You can balance. Yeah, the bigger propellers are much easier to balance. This is the RCinPower 0702 29,000 kV Ultimate Freestyle Tiny Whoop. I think it just needs this propeller. Oh, this is going to be the most exciting repair ever. All right, we're going in. Big time repair about to go down. Here we go. This is tough stuff. All right, here we go. 3S. Oh, 75. I thought you were saying 3S 7-inch gas. I was about to say what? Oh shitters! I don't have another red. Oh balls! This propeller is some. Oh no, it's not. it blew a blade off. Oh man, wait, hold on. Do I have another rig with well, no. We'll change the color of the no, we'll just put one replacement prop on and it'll just look silly. Nah, hold on. Don't I have another rig with these red? So these are the Weebleed HQ ultralights. And I'm pretty sure, yep, I sure do. Oh, but I want to keep them on there. That just looks too cool. That's got all the red. All right, now, so we're leaving them on there. I'm not going to rob a propeller off the HD drift car chasing rig for that. All right, now this is getting different colored props. Is this what you guys came for? Me hemming and hawing over the colors of the propellers? Anybody that just said a smart-ass remark, screw you. I know good and well that you pay attention to the color of the props that you put on your shit. Don't lie. Don't you lie. This is the Tiny Whoop clone popper. It's my favorite of the prop poppers. Just be careful. These forks are not indestructible. So don't go cranking on this thing because you will absolutely break one of these forks off. Be gentle with it. The old school Tiny Whoop prop popper has forks on it that are really, really strong. If you have a propeller that's stuck, that's the one that you want to use. Do not besmirch the clone popper because you've seen pictures of them with the forks broken. Those are people, myself included, that were using it incorrectly. There's a right tool for every job, my friends. You know that. Uriel says, or LED lights, so I know what's front. I can't believe all you people have 7-inch rigs. What are you doing? Why? I've always wanted. I'm dying for the 7-inch glide arms. I got to bug Ryan Harrell for him. Get in there. All right, and maybe I'll put this onto a different propeller. So these. Ooh, I'm gonna put this onto GemFan 1219S's. These are not as pitchy as the GemFan props. And these motors make so much power that I don't need this lightweight of a propeller. So yeah, these RCinPower 0702s, if there's any motor that's gonna pair perfectly with a nice fine red wine, it's these. It's these motors. So yeah, here we go. GemFan 1219S's. Those are the perfect propellers for these motors. Beautiful. And we'll get to take a look at the balance of these propellers because this PID tune is pretty aggressive. These motors are pretty aggressive, which is what is making the PID tune aggressive. So, and I've got these in red, which just makes my heart sing. So 1219S, we got our right, I need a couple of lefts. Give me a left, damn you. There's a left. And so the GemFan 1219S's are a little bit heavier, but they're super pitchy. These are like these just make all the thrust, all of it. These motors are a fairly low kV, but they're very powerful. They have lots of grunt. And so matching up a grunty motor with a heavier, pitchier propeller is just a match made in heaven. It's like lamb and tuna fish. Yes, they say his teeth were made of wool. So yeah, we're going to match these up. I believe these propellers need to be drilled a little bit. They sure do. So let's just run them a couple times through the 0.99 millimeter drill bit, which is, I do still have a bunch of available on the Etsy store. Hey, CiottiFPV.com is where you guys can support me so that I can keep doing this. Head on over there. Buy something from the Etsy store. Join my Patreon. That's the best way you can support me. It allows me to keep food in the screaming child's mouth. I had no idea 14-year-olds could make so much food just vanish forever. I'm sure I was just as bad, but still. Wow. What a thing. Here we go. Oh, yeah. That is just right. Oh, yeah. Oh, the motor shafts are a little bit shorter on these RCinPower motors. So when I push these 1219Ss all the way down, I don't get stabbed by the motor shaft like I do on Happy Model motors. The hub on these 1219Ss is a little bit smaller top to bottom. And so on the Happy Model motors, when you push these things all the way down in the motor shaft, it hurts like hell because the shaft drives up into your thumb just the right amount for you to go, ah! It's wild. There we go, man. Look, we fixed the rig already. That doesn't really count. Let's fly it, though. Let's fly it before we fix another one. We're going to make sure that it flies. I just want to fly something. This will actually help because I only charged 4 batteries, so we'll fly a battery and then I'll put it back on the charger in case we really want to go nuts. Jesus, Azalea. Easy, little boo. Neighbor's going to call the cops. We're going to measure the stators on the 12-hour stream, Render. 300 mAh Weebly battery that I have cycled a bunch of times is being plugged in, and then you guys will have some video. This is the Ultimate Freestyle Tiny Whoop with... what? I just put that battery on the wrong rack. This is the Ultimate Freestyle Tiny Whoop with RCinPower 0702 29,000 kV motors. These are the most powerful motors that Chris Rosser tested. We've got GemFan 1219S props. Is my nose bleeding? Nope. Mobula 6 canopy, RunCam Nano 3. Let me arm it real quick to get full power going to the video system. RunCam Nano 3 camera, Mobula 6 canopy, micro V antenna, V3 cockroach V3 frame. This isn't the one that broke, is it? No, it's the other rig. And 2G4. Happy Model 2G4 AIO. This has been a work horse, yo. This thing has been through hell and back. Let's smash it. Ooh, boy. Okay. That's some power. And even though the PID tune is cranked, it's not oscillating or... Oh, there's a little bit of jello. Yeah, a little bit of jello there. But it's not oscillating to the moon. So the 1219Ss are not, like... The balance is not that bad on them. Here's the source of all that noise, my friends. Look at this little tiny human being making all that noise. Woo, boy! And of course, our buddy, Teddy Spaghetti. Ooh, he was coming after it. I heard the thump. I heard the Teddy thump on the ground. Man, he is super uninterested in... Oh! Tiny whoops lately. Oh, man, I am deep under that couch. Oh, we got out. Woo! Shit. Oh, my God, what did I do? Just ran right into it. Why would I do such a thing? Oh! The throw, yo! The throw across the room with these motors is outrageous. Oh! My God! Yo, the power! Oh! I hit that lamp! I've never hit that lamp like that before. I'm trying to get it from this cube all the way over into this one. But, like, it's such a big throw. Oh, I got it in there, but I didn't get it out. No, my God, what the hell? Oh, so close. Wow, I can't believe I can... I've put the gates there in these... Usually I put this one up on top of this table, but, like, I've had the gates in these two similar locations enough that I kind of know... Oh! I kind of know the angle that I need to put it at. To make that happen. Oh, I can't crash here. It's the floor is lava over here. There's lots of half-empty boxes with Christmas decorations. Oh God, battery dead. Yo, this is banana pants power. 2.5 minutes. Hammered on it like that. I'm doing another battery on this. This is hysterically fun. Oh my God, yo, this is a great pairing. These motors with these props, chef's effing kiss. You do not notice that these are slightly heavier propellers than the HQ ultralights. Damn, dude, I dig this. This is nutty. Here we go. We're going straight upstairs. Ooh! Oh God! I haven't hit the ceiling that hard in a long time. That was a hell of a crash, yo. Holy farts. Oh God! This poor thing. I told you guys, this is a workhorse, man. This thing has been through absolute hell. Nah, I didn't get it right that time. Oh, it went in, but it didn't come out right. Teddy's like, what are you doing, dude? If it survived all those hits, I'll be impressed. There should be something broken on this. And it makes a hell of a noise when I catch it when it's going that fast, too. Ah, ugly. Uggo. Ooh, come on. What can I do with this gate in front of the fireplace? It's hard to get it in there. Oh! Oh! Oh, I got confused. Might have throttled into the ground a little bit. Oh, God, no! Oh, no! No, no, no. Uh-oh. Oh, it's not happy. It's either under a shoe. Nope. Right rear motor ain't making any noise. Oh, either there's a prop missing or I blew up that motor. That would not be surprising. Woo-wee. Alright, so I guess I drilled the propeller out a little bit too much. When you do that, take your fine-tipped tweezers, put them diagonally into the propeller. Your least favorite fine-tipped tweezers, because this kind of ruins them. Put it into the center hole of the prop at an angle, and just score up the inside of the propeller. It'll raise... You're going to dig down into the plastic, but then when you dig down in the one spot, it's going to raise the plastic on the other sides of where you're digging into, and it's going to make it fit perfectly again. It's magic. Absolute. Okay, this thing is broken because it is noticeably louder than it was when I was flying down here before all that abuse. So let's see what we broke. Some of those are some of the biggest hits I've put on a tiny whoop ever. Some of those were nasty, nasty, nasty. The frame is fine. How the hell is the frame fine? These Cockroach V3 frames are absolutely outrageous. What is broken? Something is broken on this. The propellers could just be bent up. Let's go into turtle mode, and we'll spin each prop up, motor and prop up, nice and slowly. Motor 1 feels okay. Oh, motor 2 ain't right. Motor 4 is okay. Motor 3 is not great. It's motor 2 that's unhappy. It could just be the propeller. That's okay. It's fine. It's fine. The RCinPower motors only have 1mm motor shafts, so with abuse like that, they're not going to last super long. Like I said, though, it could just be the prop. The prop could just be bent up. First thing you want to change in a scenario like this is the propeller. But we're just going to move on to the next repair because it's flying again, and it flies like its pants are on fire. All right, next. Oh, it's 8:59. There's other people streaming after me now, probably Super Deluxe and Spider Sugar. Go check them out, see what they're up to. I'm going to repair one more build, though, and then fly it. So if you want to stick around and watch that, that's cool. If not, that's cool, too. Support all the people in FPV. Watch what you want to watch, yo. Let me get caught up on chat a little bit. Hemlock says, in a previous stream, you flew Meteor 75 Pro, but with the 75mm airframe. Do you think this would work if I use HQ 40mm 2 or 3 blade ultralight props? I have the Meteor 75 Pro with Matrix AIO. Yeah, you can put the smaller props on the bigger frame. You're kind of missing out on a little bit more efficiency, a little bit more power, but it absolutely does work. So yeah. Uriel says the dishwasher is open for you. Uriel also says, I sense leave the girl alone. Mudderton says the suit over the couch looks like you flayed Santa and he's drying out by the fire. LOL. Oh, yeah, the red onesie. I got the red onesie ready for the 12-hour stream today. Render says, do you believe the stator size claim on these motors? Yeah, I think they're 0702s. They weigh what all the other 0702s weigh. So, yeah, they should be the right stator size. Mudderton says, bot is streaming tonight. Ah, nice. There you guys go. Go get you some bot grinder. I'm going to quickly fix one more rig. Then I got to actually go because I got to get my shit ready for tomorrow morning. I got to leave here at 6:30 tomorrow morning, which is absolutely insane. But, yeah, we're going to do one more fix. What was going on here? Is this just the chipped propeller fix? I think there's just a big chunk taken out of this prop. Right? This frame survived, didn't it? Yeah. I think this was just this prop is whacked out. That's not a very fun fix. This guy, I finally broke one of these Cockroach V3 frames. So let's tear this apart, and then we will drop this into a new frame, which is nice because we got this clear canopy on it, so we got to put it into a clear frame. You know what I mean? It's important. It's important to color match. Let me just grab another frame. Oh boy. Here's a light AF frame. Wow, okay. I don't have any more of the V3 frame, so it's going to have to be a light AF frame. That's insane. We'll do it. This is going to be a nutty build. And it would appear that I've already drilled the holes out in this frame, so that's good. All right. Yeah, this should be ready to go. Man, I'm going to have some lightweight builds. All right, let's do it. Can I do this without taking the props off? I think so. Let's try it. Hemok says, I want to swap the frame and use the 75mm airframe. Ah, okay. The only pain in the ass with the 75 airframe is that there aren't many AIOs that'll work with it. So you got to pay really close attention to that. Other than that, it's a great frame. It's super lightweight. You'll save a shitload of weight over that 75 Pro frame, that's for sure. Danzilla, I am flying a building so there's a show about imploding buildings, building implosions, and they are blowing the building up on January 1st. Hopefully they can bring me out for that. But tomorrow, they're placing the explosives and stuff, and they want me to fly through and just sort of show the building. They want like a before and after. So yeah, it's 2 hours away, unfortunately, but that's the life of a freelancer. And call time is 9 a.m., so I got to be up at 6:30 to get out the door by 7. So tomorrow's going to be a tiring day. But any day that I get to fly is a good day. So yeah, the 12-hour stream is getting pushed to Sunday, unfortunately. I can't, with this being 2 hours away, like by the time I got back, I would have to go directly into the stream, which is just a terrible idea because I'm probably going to get very little sleep tonight. So yeah, 12 hours of Christmas stream is Sunday starting at 2 p.m., I believe. And that way, everybody that's used to me streaming at 3 Eastern on Sundays, you know, they'll just roll right on in. And we can do all the fun things. I could certainly just E6000 this frame back together. It would probably last a while longer. But they never, they always just end up breaking again. And, like, you know, we'll just fix it the right way. So we're going from a Cockroach V3 frame to a light AF frame. And this is the matrix boarded build. This is the matrix AIO, which I have not really flown much. I'm probably only like 5 or 6 batteries into it. It's been totally fine. And I mean, you know, if they work out of the box, usually they kind of work forever, but we'll put some more abuse into it, see how it holds up. I've now unplugged the UFL, I want to say 10 times from this, unplugged and replugged, and it's held on fine. So thumbs up, BetaFPV. Thank you for getting that figured out. Unfortunately, in the process of doing that, this AIO now weighs pretty much exactly what the 2G4 AIOs weigh. So, like, if you want to run a CO3 camera, it's kind of a no-brainer. You get this Matrix AIO because it has the exact same plug that the CO3 cameras have. If you want to run RunCam Nano 3 or an FXT camera, then get a 2G4 from Weebleed. He's got a bunch of them in stock. And that way you're not having to mess around with swapping camera plugs out. And they're both, you know, they both seem to be totally decent AIOs. I mean, we know the 2G4 is like hysterically durable. We don't necessarily know that this is as durable, but I bet you it is. Beta FPV has been focusing on durability, which is really, really nice. And their old cross-style AIO was extremely durable. So they have the ability to make durable AIOs. They know how to do it. And I don't see why they wouldn't have done it on this one. So there we go. Broken Cockroach V3. I'll be damned. This one has had the hell beaten out of it. Now we're going to go to a light AF frame, which will break even easier. Although I haven't broken one yet. So yeah, they seem to be plenty durable. I'll be interested to see if I need to back the tune off a little bit. That's something that I have noticed with the light AF frames, right? Since it's lighter, it's a little bit more wobbly. And with wobbliness comes a little bit of a backed off tune. You can still get the tune to the point where they pretty much don't prop wash at all, though. And that's kind of all that matters, right? Like, just pushing the tune farther and farther and farther, even when there's no prop wash left, like, what's the point? There's no award for having the highest numbers in the tune. Matter of fact, the lower you can get the tune, the better, because then you've got more headroom to crash and beat the rig up. So, but, you know, in that respect, like, the V3 frame is going to be a better choice for, like, a total basher. If you don't mind the extra weight, the stronger frame will allow you to just bash more. Because it's less wobbly. It'll isolate the vibrations coming from the beat up motors and props a little bit better to the rest of the build. So there we go. We are in the new frame. Let's get the... You know, I wanted to take a look at this canopy. The canopy was sitting a little bit crooked because I've sort of pre-bent the canopy a little bit here. I wanted to add a little bit more pre-bendness into the one side because the camera was sitting just a little bit not completely even. All right, so let's get these canopy screws in here first. Danzilla Terrible says, see if you can snag some det cord. I think that shit is very controlled. I don't think there's any chance of anyone not authorized snagging any of that. Because there's high explosive in it, and it's nasty stuff. See if you can snag some det cord. Seeing the slow-mo guys work with det cord is always hysterical. Very, very cool. The fact that you can see the ignition travel down the cord before it gets to the actual det cord is one of the coolest high-speed things I've ever seen. They've and Mythbusters too. Mythbusters worked with det cord a bunch, and I think there was even a collaboration with Adam Savage and Slow Mo Guys where they used some det cord. I might be combining YouTube videos in my head, but yeah, really cool stuff. Scary stuff, Jesus. They wrapped a bunch of det cord around a ballistic dummy, and it just vaporized pretty much. I don't think there was anything left of it. It was really wild. All right, so this is going to be the last repair and or flight of this live stream, and then I'm going to start getting my shit ready for tomorrow. if they bring me out on January 1st for the building explosion, I guess I'll have to fly a 5-inch. I mean, I don't have to, but I guess I will fly a 5-inch rig because it'll be about capturing this big, I don't know. A Cinewhoop will hang in the air longer. One of the problems that Rotor Riot sort of had, in my opinion, in their filming of the implosions was that, and they did it with 5-inch rigs. They, like, of course, the initial bang happens really quick, but then the building takes some time to come down, and them flying 5-inch rigs, like, they were they weren't necessarily able to like capture the building like falling. I think a Cinewhoop would do a better job with that, so maybe I Cinewhoop both. A 5-inch rig will obviously like cover ground quicker, but you know the footage is obviously going to get played in is going to be played slowed down, right? So I'll be flying in 60 frames, if not 120. And yeah, maybe it would be better to have a Cinewhoop just like hanging in the air. Because yeah, the initial explosions, the explosions are not really what you're capturing. What you're capturing is the building coming down. That's the magic. Right? In my opinion, at least. And I mean, you're going to get that initial explosion and all the shit flying everywhere no matter what. You could get that with a Mavic. I guess the worry with a Cinewhoop is that the building hits me. But, I mean, you put the nose down on a Cinewhoop and hammer full throttle, it boogies pretty good. Those 5-blade GemFan, those D76s make some serious thrust on the 2104s that I have. So I don't think that would be much of a problem. I think it's more of a style choice, right? But yeah, but the Rotorite stuff that I watched, it was like, oh, you know, cool, you got the first explosion, but then like the building fell down like basically behind the quad, and the quad is just like flying through all the smoke and shit, and it's like, no, I want to see the building come down, yo. I don't know if I mean, I assume not many people have flown building implosions. I have not seen a Cinewhoop that I know of fly. I don't know if I've seen anyone other than Rotor Riot fly building implosions. So that could be cool, you know. First Cinewhoop building explosion, even if it's not, just say that it is. Nobody will know. Nobody fact checks anyone on the internet, right? Hopefully these motors are all going to spin. And I've drilled out this frame enough. This one feels like it might be rubbing a little bit. That's not great. But I'm just going to keep going. And if one of these is rubbing, we'll know it because it won't spin. And then I'll just end the live stream and we'll fix it on the 12-hour stream. Take it all back apart and drill these back out. Drill these out more, I should say. 2 more motors, and then we'll see if it flies. Poor Maggie's up there trying to sleep, and Azalea is just screaming her little head off. Thank God I've soundproofed the bedroom to some extent. I got to do the other door. There's two doors that go to the bedroom. They have these huge gaps underneath the doors. Just let all the sound in. When Teddy freaks out and barks when somebody comes to the door and I'm trying to sleep, it's as if he's standing on top of me barking. It's so loud. Freelager says the Cineglide might be a good one to have on hand just cause. Oh yeah, for sure I'll be bringing 5-inch rigs, but I mean, I only get one hit at it, and I only get one hit, so I mean, I kind of might as well not bring the other one, because it's not like they'll be able to do it again. and I'll have made up my mind by the time I'll do a little bit more research. I'll rewatch the Rotor Riot videos to get a better feel for it and see if I can find anybody else that's done it. Every time I fly a gig, I try to do as much research as I can on the YouTube and find anybody else that's flown something similar to cheat off of them. See what works and what doesn't. All right. Almost there. There it is. Cool. Crank these down, see if these motors spin. If they do, we'll fly it around. If not, you guys can go get you some bot grinder. Northern Tears in the house. He says, 75mm 2S, what frame did you recommend? Mobile 7 V3. Happy holidays to you as well, my friend. Yeah, the V3 is an amazing frame. That motor feels fine. Nope, that one's binding. This ain't gonna fly. That one is absolutely binding up on the frame. God damn it. Let me see if I can see where it's binding up, and maybe I can just jam an X-Acto knife in there. Let's see. It's binding up on the inside here. See if this will clear out enough of the plastic. Nope. Damn it. I was really hoping to fly this. I was really hoping to not have to take this back apart. You gotta really drill these frames out sometimes. The light AF frame is significantly worse than the V3. They both need to be drilled out, but the light AF needs to be pretty aggressively drilled out. I might start using the next drill bit size up from, I want to say 5/64ths is the one that I've been using. It might be 5/16ths. But yeah, I might go one up on the drill bit. I don't want to go too big though, because if you take too much plastic out, then the frame might want to break on the bottom there. You also start to get that center hole a little close to the screw holes, which is a little creepy. Can't wait for the version 2 light AF frame. They know about this problem. They're going to fix it. But, you know, once the mold is done, you can't, like, just... a whole new mold is really expensive. And it works fine with some motors. I think it works fine with all the motors other than Happy Model. Nah, I can see it in there. That ain't gonna jive. Damn it. And there was another motor that was kind of bound up too. Nah, I'm just making a mess. Ah, that stinks. Nah, that's too bound up. That's gonna have to get taken apart. Yeah, that one's fine. That one's fine. This one's a little bound up. This one's a bunch bound up. Ah, that stinks. Yeah, that's got to come apart. I got to pull those two motors off and re-drill those center holes out. That's a shame. Sorry, guys. I flew a couple batteries though, and we got to see a broken Cockroach V3 frame. Euro says, did you hear of the rubber band about the wrist? Slap yourself on bad thoughts. I've heard of that before. All right, people. I'll see you at 2 o'clock on Sunday for the 12 hours of Christmas stream. Thanks for hanging. Wish me luck tomorrow morning. Don't do anything I wouldn't do. Here's some... at the beginning of the stream, I played the 33,000 kV 1S 75mm analog rig. Now I'm going to play the 36,000 kV hand-wound Cloudhopper build. I'll see you guys Sunday at 2. Big live stream. Come see all the shenanigans. Love you. Bye.